Hello guys, Taiho here, and today I'm going to do a preview on an upcoming Chinese-made modern armor MMO called Final Fire. I was playing this gameplay was made during like really 3-4 a.m. in China, and I'm in the States right now, so the ping is pretty much horrendous and have some packet losses here and there. And so I don't really have a decent gameplay to show, but I think an average will still do since I'm still focusing on more of the mechanics and stuff. So a quick overview about the battle, I guess. I'm driving the basically the Chinese Humvee that is improved based on the original Humvee specifications, and it's an autocannon version with 20 rounds in the magazine. And the difference of autocannon in this game compared to Armor Warfare is that you don't get hit rounds or HE rounds, which means you have quite a limited ability to do damage with autocannon. However, you of course can find enough backstabbing opportunities to get it, and I'm going to get wrecked really soon because of a quick rush into enemy base, and that got me spotted and snipe. But that aside, let's just focus on the graphics and the game first. The graphic is pretty I would say comparable to Wolf Tank Blitz. That's a mobile phone version of Wolf Tank because of the really weak open source engine. They are using tonk chili, and it's a really open source free game engine, and you can see like the graphic effect is obviously not as nice as those let's say the engine used by Armor Warfare, that's a Cry engine, and they actually modified this one quite a lot to improve upon the original version they used when the developer just started making this game in 2012. Yeah, that's pretty early actually, so it's not really a copy of Armor Warfare, but it's more some tank game inspired by Wolf Tank, I would say. I would say that they really need to work on their texture and a lot of graphic and sound design. You can hear that the explosion is really aberrative, if that's how you call it. It's just really it doesn't really blend into the environment and the background noise of the game, and it just sounds really weird. And the ground texture and the buildings and stones and trees look something from maybe Battlefield 2. The details on the vehicles are still kind of better, but it's still crappy, I would say. I'm not really sure whether it's due to shader or texture, but it's really shit for sure, even compared to Wolf Tank. Since Wargaming really upgrade their texture and into HD version of tanks and make them look much nicer, and obviously auto plays since the Wolf Tank has not really upgraded their environment as much as they do to their vehicles. So that aside, we can go on some good thing about this game. They have a kind of innovative damage system based on still the good old HP gauge. If you let's say manage to get to the backside of a tank and put rounds into its engine block, since it's a it's not really as well as protected as a front, I say. So for a low level tank, I say a Type 59 or 60 pattern, you don't really do much damage to the front. You do for TIE Fighter you do about like 200 or maybe if you're lucky 300 with upgraded guns to another MBT. But if you manage to hit the back, you can get a kind of like a critical hit with 800 damage, and you have if I remember correctly, almost 2000 health for TIE Fighter 9. So slightly more than 2000 if you upgrade it. So you pretty much want to hit the sweet spot of the weekly armor points on a tank. Like say even the cupola works kind of, but I think they might want to remove or put or something like what Armor Warfare do, reduce the damage on the cupola, since it's kind of ridiculous that you can do critical damage to the cupola, even so it's not relatively unimportant and out of the main body of the tank. But obviously if you hit like say the APS or the machine gun on top, you won't do any damage. That's at least pretty much reasonable thing. And I would say that's a really, if not easily balanced, but this is a really good innovation to how they want to handle the HP and armor thinness. And another thing is that I kind of like their capture system. You have only one single point and everyone focus around that. And to win, you need to reduce the enemy TK to 0, and by capturing the base, for every few seconds you go a take on the enemy gauge. So I think for every 3 to 5 seconds, I can't really remember the number, your TK count is reduced by 5. Oh, not really, I think it's like every 2 seconds. You judging from the video, you get -5 per 2 seconds if there's a enemy capturing the base, and you are not going to get those capture point back. So that's pretty interesting, since sometimes in, let's say, War of Tank, especially when you play on the single base mode, when you are about to capture, some guy can just reset it to 0, which is kind of frustrating. But I would say both method work. Wow, I told you already, that's a really near miss, kind of too near for comfort, I guess. So let's continue on the game. But obviously this game is not really polished at all. In some of the videos, gameplay, I can actually do some funny trick. For more than a few times, I actually able to manage, able to ram the enemy, like say enemy jeep or armor car. So they kind of flee on the side and stay on their side, and they are unable to flee themselves back. So what I do is pretty simple: put rounds into their belly, which is the weakest armor point, and kill it easy without really giving them a chance to shoot back, because their turret is not on the right side of. No one is putting a turret on the belly of a tank, right? Yeah. So you can kind of screw people over with this method, and just like move back and forth, try to hit people and get it on their side, of even flip them, which causes them to take a huge damage over time. That's actually kind of neat, but I don't really like that, because it's I would say not really fun to play if you are on the receiving end of it, but can be some good skills. And another thing is, if you look at the minimap, you can see somewhere around E3 and F9 E9 there are 2 small bases. Those are the supply depot, so you can replenish your ammo, which is pretty important, at least for Final Fire, but not really for games with no respawn like Armor Warfare and War Tank, where you kind of have enough armor for the number of enemy you will meet. But in this game, since everyone respawn and the maximum size is only 6 versus 6, you will need more ammo if you are really that good and no one really go and live for a long time. So it's kind of decent. And also another thing to talk about is the physics system. Continue from what I did to flip enemy tanks or vehicles. I feel like they are kind of light. Vehicles are kind of on the light side. You already see several times that my tank kind of do a drift, 180-degree drifting, while I only want to do 90-degree. Might be due to my ping, really high ping, but it's no. I would say it's not wrong to say that you can skid and jump and bounce around really too easily in this game. They might want to add more weight, so it's kind of more fun to play. And I will also do some reviews on the attack tree system, which I think is one of the good thing. Put it briefly, our vehicles are separated to 4 generations of tanks. So you essentially have 4 tiers, but it functions something like the battle ranking of War Thunder. You get something like, say, generation 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and you matchmake according to I think 1.0 and to 1.4 is effectively 1 tier, since you're always going to meet all the tanks within this tier. So that's a pretty nice touch to put the generation number into the game. Kind of adds to the immersion, even though it's not really important. And another thing is you can improve your tank obviously by upgrading, unlocking stuff, right? But as you unlock stuff, your generation number or the battle ranking will increase to mark that you have much better equipments compared to, like, say, a stock tank, which means that you can have some pretty interesting choice. For example, you can lower your matchmaking tier to really get into a lower tier room, but you can also choose elite loadout to get into the basically you utilize all the power your tank have. And certain tanks has really a huge amount of modification, like, say, Type 59, which is used a long time by the PLA. So they have a huge number of modification or modernization applied to it. You can it starts on as a beginning of tank, which is generation 1.0, but you can, if I remember correctly, you can upgrade to like generation 2 point something, like about 2.2 or 2.3 if I remember correctly, which kind of reflects how the tank improves over time. But I'm not really sure what will they do to certain tanks, like, say, T-72, which basically are a huge number of vehicles, since there are a lot of difference among T-72U, A, and B. Similarly, Chinese also has a lot of modifications. So if the attack tree is what they are going to do, you can see those major modifications separated into different tanks, because you can actually see you have the Type 99 Chinese main battle tank, Type 90 and 99A, which is an upgraded version, armor version, and the latest Type 99G. So if there are major modifications. You will have them as separate tank instead of as a one tank. But I think the main thing is they really put kind of effort into differentiate themselves, so I will applaud them for that. But they have as a conclusion, I would say they have a bad choice for the engine, because they are really a small studio and has no money until recently. They managed to get a big publisher, so they choose the open source. Even so, I would say a Unity engine at the time is already pretty cheap with a few $100. So it's a weird choice, but I hope they can do their best to choose to migrate to a new engine. And I will see you guys in next video about the upgrade and garage and tech tree. And here is Taiho. Happy hunting.